We got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about the bass. We got to talk about the bass. You know the one I'm talking about.
It was an interesting project. Just encapsulated real quick. Some friends of mine in Rhode Island made a Telecaster for me as a gift, and
Okay.
it came, and I was like, wow! I was just blown away. It was real heavy. Come to find out that it was a piece of pine that was a plank in a shipwreck that was underwater for like several hundred years off the
Yeah.
coast of New England, and it got reclaimed, and they made bodies out of it, and they made me this Telecaster with parts. And it sounded great, and I was really impressed. And the guy that made it was a guy named Riverside Vinny. Vincent Goulart was his name. He makes guitars. He's also into flooring and sculpting, and he does all this stuff with marble. And he's really quite an interesting guy. But we got in touch with each other. I thanked him for the guitar, and then he said to me, he goes, "Well, you don't have a bass." He goes, "You ever had a signature bass?" I go, "Come to think of it, no. I mean, I've been playing bass for years in the studios and then touring with Steve." And so he says, "Well, I got this wood that I just got from this company called J Mark or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. You actually have the certificate
Yeah, I
that I
do.
mailed
I was
you.
reading that earlier today.
Proves that this wood came from a house in Boston on One Milk Street, Boston, that was being renovated with steel where the beams are. These old wooden beams were removed, and it just so happened that this house was where Ben Franklin lived as a child, and actually might have been born in this
Yeah.
house. They talked to a couple experts. They say it was a couple blocks down, a couple of doors down, but either way, he lived in this
Yeah,
house.
the certificate by the organization from Northeast Reclaimed Wood People say he was born there. They claimed that he was
Right.
born there. Yeah.
Really big piece of spruce, mind you, that you don't usually get a piece this big. Plus, it was about 200 years old when they were using it. So I had a really big spruce tree in 1709 or three, and made this beam that went in this house. Before we even had our independence. And this particular tree was this beam was removed, and so the reclamation company got a hold of it. Riverside Vinny got a hold of it. He cut me, by my request, a jazz bass body with P-bass 5-string wells for the pickups. I said I want something different, so let's go with the jazz bass body because I always play P-bass.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. That's a nice.
P-bass wells 5-string, because with Steve I need a 5-string because he's changing keys from time to time, and I want to be able to have a low E flat or a low D to fill out the sound of the band, have some subs and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. He cut me this body, just rough cut it, sent it to me. I looked at it and went, okay, this is going to be a lot of work. And so I decided to put this bass together as just an art project that I would hang on the wall. I never bought any real expensive parts. I just bought like a Japanese maple replacement Fender 5-string neck on Amazon.
Yeah.
It even had tuners installed when I got it. And I bought some cheap bridge and electronic parts. MJ at Maricela Juarez, she's really sweet. She sent me a set of quarter pounders that she wound herself, and because we have sort of like a relationship with Seymour, which is great. And so I had all the parts, and so I went, what can I finish? I went, I'll use tung oil. So I got some tung oil, and I did this bass just as a simple little project, and it turned out so great that I just went, you know what? I think I'm going to take this out and see if our manager sound guy likes this, because our manager's our front of house mixer too.
Okay.
He's pretty picky, but he likes P basses. He likes just a plain passive P bass. He grew up with them like I did, and he knows how to put it in the track and mix it, blah, blah, blah. So I brought it out, and he was a little reticent at first because, it's pretty humble looking if you have that picture that you showed, it's natural finish, no pick guard, and he said, you know what? This thing sounds really good. So this Franklin 5, it's Founding Father Franklin 5. I call it the 4F.
Yeah.
Founding Father Ben Franklin, Franklin 5. So it's Founding Father Franklin, the 5-string Franklin's wood.
Yeah.
And so I put a 50-cent silver 1954 coin in the front of it because that was my birth year. I put a decal on there of him, and then I signed it. So I made my signature bass that I'd never gotten before. My signature bass, and we're using it right now.
That's awesome.
From the Jazz Fest in New Orleans, and we just played in